the reality is I met Mike Tyson on a flight, and I worked up the nerve to start a conversation with him. And then it led to much more of a conversation than I expected. I think that's probably the best way to set it up. But, like, it was wild, man. And people, by the way, have hit me up a lot. You know, I think some people don't understand what goes into – they think that, like, you create these stories like you were writing a script or something, and they're like, oh, that's not, you know, did that really happen? I'm like, yeah, of course. And you think that, like, I just sat down and was like, I'll make up a story about meeting Mike Tyson. Of course it happened.
On the Todd Shapiro Show, SiriusXM 168.
Okay, so Tom Segura, pretty big comedian.
Yeah.
He's coming to town for JFL 42.
Beauty.
Yeah.
And JFL 42, what starts?
21st.
When are we broadcasting from the Pantages?
The 28th and the 29th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great to know. That's really good to know, actually. Yeah. That'll be fun. And we have a blast there, and a lot of these comedians from the States and of course Canada come on in. And Bilau's doing, like, we're promoting it. So Bilau's doing daily interviews through the phone. We're trying to Bilau to, like, tag in and grow his profile a little bit, which is one of the things every performer or every entertainer or every co-host or every producer has to do. Don't get stuck in one position. I highly implore people to spread their wings, and that's what we did with Bilau. And I had a meeting at 1, so I couldn't make it. But okay.
You had better things to do.
No, Tom Segura would have been amazing. So with the Robs here, Bebenick and Pugh, we're going to kind of listen to this, and we might stop it, we might not, and we might sort of gauge how he's doing in the middle of it. But let's have good luck to Bilau.
It's time for an oral exam with the gentle, the pure, the virgin, Bilal Vikani on the Todd Shapiro Show.
Yes, that's my ID. It's Bilal Vikani here with Tom Segura. You are literally one of the 4 horsemen of JFL 42, which is on our way, and I'm giving you that nickname right now. Tom, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm one of the 4 horsemen?
You're one of the 4 horsemen. So if I was to sit there and create a Ric Flair-type stable of 4 comics who are going to wreak havoc on Toronto in the next coming weeks here, I'm putting you in the stable. You're not quite the Ric Flair, but you're...
Yeah.
Good start.
Yes.
Insulting the guest right away.
I put him in the 4 horsemen.
But what is the reference? Is that a wrestling reference?
Yes, the greatest wrestling stable of all time.
Sounds like an insult to me.
Is Segura a big wrestling fan?
He's a big college football fan, so close enough.
No.
One is real sport. One is entertainment.
So you literally started him off giving him a nickname that has nothing to do with what he does that you had to explain to him.
Because it's something that you know well.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic start.
No one ever does that.
No, stellar beginning.
All right, we'll continue.
The All About Bilal show. Okay.
Definitely in the stable.
Hey, I'll take it, man. I'll take it, dude, for sure. I'm excited.
Now, speaking of those shows, so September 30th at 1 p.m., it's In Conversations with Tom Segura, and I am saying, like, I'm paranoid about him. I'm saying your name correctly, even though I practiced it. It is correct, right?
Yeah, Tom Segura. It's phonetic, so
okay.
It's hard to get wrong.
Okay,
I feel like
pause it for a second.
Very
I don't mean it be. So there's a lot of names that I mispronounce often. But like big stars, you don't. That's also not another good way to approach a nice interview, right? Like we got this guy Moston coming in. I think he's new. He's a young comic. It's okay for me not to know his name. That's fine. But you should know Tom's name.
No, I knew it. I
don't want to sound like a goofball here, but I just want to make sure I got your name is Robert Deniro.
Yeah.
Like, just know the guy's fucking name.
Hey, Jim Carrey.
I like how you said you practiced it and then you just get it wrong. You know, you just keep practicing it over and over again. Wrong? Is that what you're doing?
I thought it was right.
Let me get this really wrong. Did you practice in the shower?
No.
I bet you did.
No, the acoustics weren't good.
Okay.
Great start, though. So far, it's going great.
It's swimming.
Way to represent the brand.
You'll notice I'll extenuate it differently each time. So that's at the Bell TIFF Lightbox, which is one of the ultimate
you didn't even
venues
let him
of
answer.
Toronto.
I'm being so rude.
Do you know a lot about the...
Tom, shut up. Shut up, Tom. I'm talking.
This is Bilal's time to shine. You shut your mouth, Segura.
No.
venue, the TIFF Bell Lightbox, or this is kind of your first time being there?
I have no idea what that is. I'm being there. I'm going to be at that.
Yeah, so it's typically, just to give you some background, it's a venue where we usually do a film festival, I'm not sure how, but they're
You
going
talk to him like he's a
reconfigure it.
fucking idiot. Eh? It's a building. It's got walls, and people do things in it.
We're going to get some people in there, and we're going to get a nice new microphone for you. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Get your apple box or something to stand on, will you? Get up there on the microphone. Sorry, Bilal.
No, I'm glad we're doing the commentary. It's much funnier.
I gotta apologize. I hope I see Tom. I hope I see him. Just don't post the story, bro.
It ends well. It ends well. Don't worry.
Oh, I bet.
It ends well.
Here comes the flourish.
Oh shit.
For you, so you can do a conversation show. So don't be alarmed if
you
there are
telling him what to do?
projectors and popcorn and.
He just called comedy a conversation show?
No, sorry, his show is Conversations with Tom Segura. I think we laughed over.
It's like you're. You could be popcorn. You were right. He actually went there.
Yeah.
He's fucking in kindergarten.
Right?
And then we'll drop you off the bus.
I'm being somewhat facetious on purpose here.
Oh, fuck. The guy hasn't said one word yet, dude. He's Tom Segura.
You're telling him where he is. He's like, I don't know, man.
This is Tom Segura interrupting Bilal Vakani's monologue. Go.
You know your favorite color when you were 12 was brown. Go ahead.
So there'll be a lot of milk duds available, so
great.
that'll help you out, you know?
Yeah, I guess so. And that's like, oh, man, that's the thing at 1 o'clock. Okay, I was asking her, like, you're going to do in conversation. I'm like, whatever, man. I don't even know what you're talking about. I have a show that night. I wasn't really focused on the conversation. But, yeah, you're right. They did tell me I was doing something like that. Now I know there's going to be popcorn, so I'm excited.
Now, later that night, you kind of alluded to it, but at 7 p.m., you're at the Sony Center for your No Teeth, No Entry tour. And all these tickets are available at jfl42.com. And what's interesting about that is that's actually more of a music venue. So in the span of about 7 hours, you're going to go from a film preview of a venue to a music venue, which raises two questions. One, do you have a screenplay to pitch? And two, you're going to bring a guitar.
Does anybody
yes,
give a
both,
fuck?
man. I'm looking for financing for the script, so I will definitely be bringing that all over Toronto. And I'm going to jam out, for sure, man. I'll play the drum, turntables, I'm a Serato DJ. I'm going to tear it up. P-Dot doesn't know it's going to happen.
Excellent. Now, I want to talk a little bit also about your Netflix specials because, you know, clearly
That's
you've got some time
that's
for
a
the
real, like, and it's cool. That's like a comfort zone thing for young interviewers. They always say, now I want to talk about it, or let me ask you. Or I was, just go into it as opposed to having to tell them what you want to do.
Right.
Anyway, but that's just like, that's
Little
honest
check mark.
advice.
No, it's
Yeah.
Little check mark. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. All this shit, one good thing, eh? Nice.
shows. And the beauty of it is anyone who's maybe on the fence, they can check out your Netflix special. And I rewatched Mostly Stories last night. And I have to say, and we're an uncensored channel, so I'm going to say this quite candidly, motherfucking Mike Tyson. Watch that Netflix special because that is possibly the greatest story I've ever heard a comedian tell on a Netflix special, in real life, at a comedy club, on the street, in an Uber. It might be the greatest story
Sorry.
I've heard anyone ever tell in their life. I don't want to give it away, but how could you tease it potentially better than I just have?
Well, that's very nice of you saying. You know, the best I could set it up is that the reality is I met Mike Tyson on a flight, and I woke up the nerve to start a conversation with him. And then it led to much more of a conversation than I expected. I think that's probably the best way to set it up. But, like, it was wild, man. And people, by the way, have hit me up a lot. You know, I think some people don't understand what goes into. They think that, like, you create these stories like you were writing a script or something, and they're like, "Oh, that's not, you know, did that really happen?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And you think that, like, I just sat down and was like, "I'll make up a story about meeting Mike Tyson." Of course it happened, and I've posted photos on my Instagram, and, you know, just to show, like, hey, man, this is him and I. And the craziest thing, one of the craziest thing about that somebody gave me, man, like, I mean, we're leaving a lot out for people that don't know the story, but a guy came up to me when I was in Pittsburgh doing a show this year, and he handed me an envelope, and it had photos in it. And what it was a photo of Mike Tyson in the airport in Pittsburgh, and in his hand, he's holding my DVD. And what it was somebody took a picture of him right after we'd gotten off that flight. And I actually have that picture.
Anyone who's got Netflix, watch that special tonight. It is just amazing. Some other program you were part of.
Cool story, bro. Anyways.
Anyway, we just get right into it. You couldn't add, like, anything. What was his breath like? Or, what other, did he give you any boxing tips? You don't want to go on with that at all?
Well, I think that was a good tease to the story. Now people want to know.
I can't hear you.
Oh,
okay.
that's a good
I'm
tease
just apologizing to Tom on Twitter. Actually, I'm not even listening. I'm actually tweeting Tom.
Really sorry I said that, guy.
So sorry about the Bilal 87. What's your B Job 94 or something? I forget. Okay, B Job 92 or something. Okay. Go on. Sorry. I boys, Rob, Bevanek, you.
Oh, brilliant segue. Like, he throws out a nice, interesting story, and the second he breaks, you're like, well, and on to the next thing. I tuned out halfway through that.
Comedy Bot's algorithm has read dead air. Now on to banalities. Holy fuck.
No, great job.
No, you're doing it. It's warm. It's
How
nice.
much more of this is there?
We're about halfway through. So
Oh, shit.
5 minutes.
Brace yourselves.
It gets better.
He says it ends great.
The Joe Rogan Show and the Bennington Show. Now, we've got very, very different relationships with those two shows. Todd is great buddies with Bennington. He'll pop on his show at JFL and when Todd's in New York once a year. And I believe Joe Rogan briefly acknowledged Todd's existence in L.A., so we have vastly different relationships with those two shows. What was sort of the biggest difference from one experience to another for you? Because we're on different planets with those two shows.
Like, what is my experience with the two shows?
Or the biggest difference between your experience with the two shows?
I don't know, man. I mean, like, Joe is like, I've known for a decade. So it's like, doing his show is like just going to lunch with him. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we're comics. I've done 100+ stand-up shows with him. So the experience of doing the show is it's very casual. I mean, it's what's incredible is like the feedback from the show. The size of his show is it's unbelievable. It's like doing the Tonight Show in the 80s or something, man. It's crazy, the size of his show. Bennington is like, man, he is the greatest. I absolutely love that dude, and he's hilarious. I was like gaga the first time I met him because I'd listened to him, and he has that, it's like that cool uncle you want to be friends with. So like, I was just sitting there, just ear to ear smiles the first time I went in studio with him. I love that dude.
Tom's fucking great.
They're both.
Like, he's like so, like, just genuine and sweet, actually.
Yeah,
he's saving, like, cause I don't know how he's not like bored, but
Well, he's buddies with Kreischer, and Kreischer's
Yeah.
a beauty too. Like, I don't imagine they'd keep shitty company.
exactly the greatest.
He's a beauty by association.
This is no, he's just so nice. Like, he's just so nice right now. Like, actually, I don't.
me out.
Yes, he has, and I imagine continues to do so. It's-
Terrific. I'm going to ask you another thing. So, Mark Maron. Have you seen Glow on Netflix?
No, I have not. I've heard fantastic things about it.
Oh, there goes 9 questions.
Oh, fuck. Comedy bot scrambling. Interview bot scrambling.
Oh no, I was gonna ask you what you thought of. Oh, never mind. Anyhow, Mike Tyson, eh?
Where does this go?
Oh, can you just rewind that like 10 seconds? Now what?
That's got to be a soundbite on here.
On the system.
Oh, you can't go back on the system?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
keep going
afraid to.
forward. No problem.
I won't waste a valuable interview with you to tell you it's a great show, but I just did. Quickly, I should wrap this up here because I would imagine I've only got 10 minutes with you. LA versus Montreal, you're in just for laughs in Montreal, and I believe, are you in LA right now?
I'm in LA right now, yeah.
All right. So what's the biggest difference from LA to Montreal, coming from someone who has only been to both places about twice?
Jesus.
The biggest difference between those two cities?
Yeah, it's an appropriate response. Who the fuck am I talking to? He's thinking. Why am I wasting my fucking time? Wow. What's the biggest difference? Oh, shit. I don't know. The border?
The language.
Yeah, the landscape.
Different
people.
language. Ice storms.
The fact that I live in one city and there's like all the greatest comedians out there, and some just visit Montreal once a year. Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we have the same amount of English speakers, but
That's pretty funny.
I don't know, man. You guys have more whores. Yeah, you have better food in Montreal.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
For sure.
I don't know.
I'll take that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
terrific.
and you do speak Spanish,
I
right?
love Montreal.
What the fuck?
I speak Spanish. Yeah. We have
Scrambling,
a lot
scramble
of
bot.
Spanish speakers in Los Angeles too. But yeah, I mean, you guys obviously. I mean, it's weird. It's so bizarre when you visit Montreal, especially maybe not for Canadians, but when you're American and like you have a 40-year-old driver and he's struggling to put together an English sentence. And you're like, "Are you fucking serious right now?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've just never left these 3 blocks my entire life." And you're like, "Okay, sure, man."
Can I get you to do a favor? Because a lot of times we ask guys to do little show IDs, but you have the unique ability, as probably the only person I think we've had on the show who probably speaks Spanish at any sort of level. Could I get you to record like kind of a show ID? Like I'll tell you.
How insensitive do you make us look there?
You tell me who's been on the show who speaks Spanish. Go.
Hunter Collins.
Really?
Hunter Collins.
We didn't know that.
He's fluent.
What about
See, it's not so easy.
Ricky Velez?
What about Marito Lopez?
Marito Lopez?
See, it's never come
Martha
up.
Chavez?
Are you fucking kidding? Little.
There's half a dozen comics in Toronto that speak Spanish
Jesus,
fluently.
come on, buddy.
Taking advantage of it.
Someone's got to take you out of your suitcase in the morning and assemble you a little quicker and get you out.
Español muy
Get you
buena
out
para habla.
We don't allow those types of people on the show, but
Nah.
you're the exception.
Nah. All we want to do is piggyback off their misery to raise money for our hockey team.
Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Honestly, I'm actually sweating.
Español. Habla Español.
The reason we phoned you in is because we built the wall around this studio to keep your kind out.
Hey, Segura
We
coming
were
up here
told we
taking
needed
our
a
token.
token. Why so said that, dude?
There's a reason coming up here. I had something in mind.
I bet you it's deep. Let's go.
Kind of what to say, and you can put your own spin on it, but in Spanish.
Oh.
Would you be able? Would you?
Spanish
do that?
ID. We don't have a Spanish ID.
Excellent. So usually what we do for an ID
It's
is
like the
something
num
like,
stop.
you're listening
This is
to
the number
Todd
one
Shapiro
rule, dude.
show.
Number one rule, okay? What's my number one rule with comedians?
I don't even know.
You never have them tell a joke.
No, but we ask
Never.
for IDs.
No. You never. But it's just such an it's actually
for a
an
different language. All right.
It's no. It's not. It's just an insult. It's like to give him to make him do work. Like he doesn't want to do
literally had
work
one of
for
our
free.
Bosses asked me to do this more. I've literally had one of our bosses say, "Why didn't you get any IDs from those?"
Not
comedians?"
live on air. Like when they leave the studio and then we say, "Hey, can you just stick around?"
okay,
That's a little bit different. And like it's I don't know, dude. I'm sorry. Like this actually, singers all asked to sing, okay?
Yeah.
Because they're not really good talkers,
That's not really a joke. It's an ID. It's not like I'm asking them to do a 2-minute
But
set.
to do it in Spanish?
I thought it'd be funny.
Oh.
Although I can't tell because I haven't translated it yet. But
What about what's your native tongue?
well, really just English.
All right.
Let's be honest. Let's
Yeah,
not.
what's your dad's?
Urdu?
All right. Can your dad come on the show, but I only want to talk to him in Urdu?
No, that's not what I did.
Yeah,
It's
that's
an
basically- I don't know.
exaggeration. If you
Yeah.
asked him to do an ID in Urdu, he'd probably be happy about it. He'd be like, "Oh, it's great."
I want him to come on the show and spank you in Undu. Thank you. I couldn't wait to say it. Wait to say that.
I just spit on my own. Can you give me a napkin or something? Fuck. This is we got to do this more often, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's do the last 3
back
minutes.
tomorrow.
Sorry.
It's only 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
On SiriusXM Canada Laughs Ch.168. If you want to
edit that
take
part
that, spin it in a different way in
Ocho.
Spanish, and I'll leave it up to you if you even want to translate it, or if I'll have to pull out Google Translate after the fact and figure out what you said. But would that be cool?
Oh my God.
Oye, malparidos de mierda, gilipollas, escúchame a la verga. Estás escuchando el Todd Shapiro, Canada Laughs, SiriusXM Canal 168. Anda y chúpalo.
I didn't understand any of it, but it sounded great. Tom, this has been an absolute pleasure. All the best at JFL. Everybody, go to JFL 42, September 30th. Just clear the whole day. I'm going to dare all of our listeners, or at least somebody who's listening, see both of Tom's shows. Otherwise, you're a pussy. So I'm going to throw that out there right now. September 30th, 1 p.m. Go ahead. Get a little word in on that.
No,
Oh, yeah, you can talk too.
That, Toronto is definitely top 3 cities to do stand-up in, period. And I couldn't be happier to be coming back. It's been a while, so I'm really excited, man. Really excited.
Yeah, once again, it's September 30th, 1 p.m. You'll get to hear about a screenplay in conversations with Tom Segura at the TIFF Bell Lightbox. At 7 p.m., he's headlining the Sony Center, part of the No Teeth, No Entry tour. All those tickets are on JFL 42, and you can't miss it because Tom's one of the first faces you see, and rightfully so. This guy is massive. He's got 111,000. I can't even read it on Twitter, and 189,000K on Instagram. Tom, you're a massive comedic star. Thank you for taking the time. And if you actually want to meet our real host, Todd, we are going to do some on locations for 2 days. I think it's the 28th and the 29th. So go bug our PR friends, and maybe we'll get to hang out with you at the Pantages Hotel.
You're my guy. You're my guy.
That's how it ends.
Just picture him walking you around on a little cat leash.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, that was a fucking slog.
The literal translation of what he said was, "I can't believe SiriusXM Channel 168 got this fucking numpty to interview me."
Yeah, didn't you hear numpty in Mexican there?
No, you're my guy.
Numptoto.
No, you're my guy, totally.
Yeah. Well, that was beautiful. I mean, crisp. Really crisp.
You never knew what was coming next.
Sharp.
Who are you doing tomorrow?
Harry Cannonball. I'll take a different approach on that one.
Nope, just do it.
I say keep doing this. It's magic.
Might as well.
Shoehorning your jokes in and ignoring his
I'll also do that.
responses.
Yeah. Do this one in German, please. Do you know Swahili, sir? Holy Christ. You do a joke that no one in this country will understand? Excellent. Sweet. I hope people come to your fucking show.
If you out loud say, "I don't care," and then ask your next question, that would at least be honest. Try to pretend you give a shit. I'm not an interviewer myself, but that's just one thing when I get interviewed, which isn't often, but when I do, I like for the host to create the illusion that he gives a good sweet fuck what I've just said.
You got to isolate that part where you go, that's got to be isolated in a. That's got to be a button you can hit near this.
Will you do that at least? Your first sound ever when you finally lose your virginity.
I can't believe you haven't seen Glow. Jesus Christ!
Yeah. There goes 9 questions.
All these papers are useless.
You know, it's so brilliant, that interview.
Fucking.
I wish I could just do that.
Just a bunch of cum in my pants.
You get to see Alison Brie's boobs, for Christ's sake.
Someone go downstairs and let my dad in. Here to spank me.
Good stuff. Good start.
Yeah.
And undo.
And undo. Dad spank me and undo. Okay.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And BJob24 is where you can find it.
The Todd Shapiro Show.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. You can subscribe over there, or you can watch another video over here. And I think this is the Daniel Bryan yes chant, so what the hell? Yes, Todd Shapiro Show. Daniel Bryan can't wrestle anymore. It's a very sad story.